third game as well against Costa Rica, and at least if he would have been seen to playing a style of football that would have scored us goals, he would have still took plaudits. He's come out of it tactically, I think, from the first to the second game, which was really surprising because he has unbridled experience compared to any other English coach out there with his European jobs that he's had for a 35-year coaching journey. He was too open and expansive in the first game. We did not have to beat Italy in that first match. A draw was sufficed, and then you roll it onto the second game against Uruguay, and then you could have gone for it. And then we win that game, 4 points, we get through the group.
I completely agree with Bradley on every point there. All I would say is that I just think that Roy Hodgson, as a manager, as a figurehead, has done quite a lot of good things for English football in terms of the way he's built up a better relationship with the press than certainly was there with Fabio Capello. I think he's also created a vibe in the squad which was improved as well. The players seemed really happy to be there and were going for it.
And I have to actually question that. I read an article, one of Darren's colleagues, Martin Samuel, did. A lot of the stuff that the players did during the course of the tournament, it's all staged. It was all, it's not natural. They weren't allowed to go into the flyovers and see the underprivileged guys. It was sort of all on the outskirts. It was all lovely photographs. Even a walk along the beachfront in Rio at their base. It was security teams with them, and players are sort of hindered somewhat. They're not acting and behaving in their normal state, and I think you can see that.
We'll hit holes in that one because it's very hard to actually get the players to go out and do. We saw the backing program before the World Cup. It was as if he was wandering around on a bike through South America.
Yeah. But the thing I would say, I kind of agree with both of you in part. Look, Roy Hodgson is a nice guy, but as has been made, the point's already been made. We're not judging him on whether he's a nice guy. We're not judging him on relationships he's built with the press and what he's done with the players. We're judging him on what he goes to
as a
World Cup and does.
As a coach.
We don't care as the media, and I'm sure the public listening to this, what happens between now and the European Championships. The whole idea that this was only ever going to be a learning curve because European teams don't win at the World Cup, rubbish. Lots of European teams are still there. I went to Holland in Amsterdam against Wales on the eve of the World Cup. That Holland defence is bottom of the championship at best. Yeah. I'm telling you, the attack is world class, but defensively they are so poor.
Yeah.
And yet Van Gaal has managed to get them working effectively. And Roy Hodgson, with comparable talents in his squad, cannot get the same shoot out of players. So yes, you have to say he's competent.
Nick Alabin, I'm going to bring up Nick in, who's still in Brazil, and we are now building up 15 minutes away from kick-off against Chile, which will be exciting. Nick obviously is someone who follows England, but over there in Brazil. What was the sort of feedback? What was the reaction that you got to, not necessarily just the individual games, but sort of England showing in the tournament?
Well, here in Brazil, people really respect England. I think in Brazil, people like a winner. So if you've won the championship before, people have a lot of respect for you. Before the tournament, all the guys I was talking to, people in the street, taxi drivers, were talking about England as a real favourite. And I had to say, come on, are you serious? But they have a real respect for us, and that England-Italy game is considered one of the best games of the tournament here, still, by everyone talking about it. But I just wonder, at that game in Manaus, whether England and Italy possibly took a little bit too much out of themselves, rather than maybe playing for a draw that would have helped both teams. They really both went for it, and then both suffered in their next two games. I wonder whether they just kind of ran themselves into the floor a little bit, and sort of left themselves slightly tired for the next two matches.
I mean, it's a point. I mean, and Nick Godwin's at Wimbledon as well. I don't know if me and Nick had a heated debate yesterday. I just said in the office that I think Roy Hodgson, in other circumstances, and again, I take away the personal element, the fact that Roy's a good guy, Ray Lou alongside him is a top bloke as well. Take away that, he's a lucky boy to be in a job. Now, Nick accused me. Nick, you said it's an emotional response, that you're just getting rid of the manager for failure, but it's what happens, surely, Nick. And I think, I think he's lucky. Personally, I think he's lucky to